Alright, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the video I just uploaded to show what kind of was going on, and also to kind of give an insight of like how in-depth fighting games genuinely are. And most people really don't like take games that serious for the casual community or even understand what's going on in the footsie battle. If you are a more high-level player, then this will be very informational for you. If you're a casual, it's not going to look like anything because it won't make sense. But if you like a game like Street Fighter or a game like Tekken, this has translated across every game that's ever been a fighting game. And I'll kind of like break down every like sequence so you can see what's going on. So to kind of give an idea of what this video was, it was basically one of my new friends who is a subscriber. He wants to learn how to read the game faster or how to become more pressure-ish or how to have more bully tactics or how to get people scared, how to have so many mind games to where everything that you do is intentional. And I told him this would be a very good way to practice or to see where your neutral is at, where you take away all the combos, because a lot of people play off of combos alone. And that's the reason why they're not good, because it doesn't matter how much damage you can get from a character. If you can't get that damage, you can't get your opening, you don't know how to open people up. And not every character is going to have 50-50s to open people up. So what you're going to need is footsies to do exactly that. The reason why I love playing Quan Chi is because you don't have to have all the neutral to be able to beat someone. You can actually just force the win with 50-50s in range, which makes the game much easier. So that's why I say he is S+ without a doubt. But some characters have a harder time getting those openings or finding those touches. And one of those characters that is very good at kind of bullying you, but they're stubby, would be Liu Kang. So you have to have a lot of neutral to be able to beat a character if you're going against a longer range character and you're playing Liu Kang. And that's the reason why if you watch Ninja Killer, you'll see him doing these little things so well at the highest level that it's actually like so important to adopt that as a person. So that way, if you're using any character, no matter if they have long range, good range, bad range, you can make them work because you have a footsie knowledge. And I'll show you what's going on in a footsie war against a good player or against a player who doesn't know what they're doing, who doesn't know about frame data, who doesn't know about frame traps, who doesn't know about pressure and mind games that come into playing just footsies alone. So that's what this video was. So we're breaking down sequence by sequence. So at the start, obviously you see that he won the first round. I was kind of showing him some things, and he was able to adopt them, and I was telling him to use his 2-1 much more, or is it 2-2, whatever it is. I think it's just 2-1 for the Scorpion. And I was telling him to use that because if he did get his down 3 or his down 4 to land, that 2-1 is always going to gel into that. However, if it is blocked, it's much more optimal to do the 2-1 because the range on it is always going to reach even if that move was blocked with the pushback. So it's much more optimal to do your 2-1 instead of doing your 1-2. He was stuck on the 1-2 because of the fact that it was 7 frames and then his 2 is 10 frames. And I told him, I play a character like Quan Chi. He has a 9 frame down 1. Most characters have a 7 frame down 1. Why would I use anything else other than that down 1 that is 9 frames and not my down 4, which is 13 frames, but it's -6 on blocking? The pushback is crazy. So 1's not safe and 1 is safe, but 1 is much more heavy on startup. And I told him, why do you think I always use my down 4? I said, because I understand what's going on in the war of footsies. And I understand that even though something may be like a little bit more, have a little bit more startup, all you have to do is just do the math and see how, if that's going to work. And in this case, I was telling him how just because you're going to be able to make that button three little frames faster isn't going to do you anything if I block it, because if I block it and I backstep you, or even if I block and I just do a quick walk back into another quick block, that is going to whiff and I can punish you. There are levels to the game, so using your 1-2 in the higher lower format, it just does not work. You have to use your best range buttons to force people to not press if they are doing backdash movement or just micro spacing to make you whiff so that way they can punish you. It's much easier to beat a Scorpion who is using their 1-2 instead of using their pokes into their 2-1. And that's just because of the range differential. It's very much easier to make someone whiff off of that. A lot of characters don't have a backdash that's good enough to be able to stop his down 3 into him backdashing into his 2, or his down 3 straight into his 2, or his down 3 into pressure 2. Hopefully you understand what I mean by that. So that's what we were focusing on that first round. Let's kind of get into the start. So immediately I get in and I throw a projectile. It's a high, but I'm setting this up because I want him to start ducking. And I'll do another one. Notice how I'll take a step back. And he immediately, I told him, I said, you need to learn how to mimic or opposite track movement, meaning if someone moves back, you move forward. If someone moves forward, you move back. If someone moves forward, you move forward. Or if someone moves back, you move back. And just learn to mimic or opposite track their movement. Because if you do this, it's kind of going to not necessarily brainwash, but it's going to desensitize the player, or it's going to allow for you to keep movement, but you have to be able to react to this kind of thing. So that's what he was doing there. And I'm still like stopping him. I'm like, well, you can't move just yet, because the moment I backstep, I'm going to immediately special cancel it into a hide that's very fast. That's a projectile that's going to reach you there. So you have to at least duck or hold block, and you're going to see him make his read. So he ducks, which is what I want him to do, because I know that if he were to do his down 3 right there, it wouldn't land. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I see him whiff. I do another back step, right? So, hold on. We can block that. I want him to start not blocking, because whenever he's not blocking, then that means I can do everything else. But that right there, that's just the first backdash was a predictive one, just to kind of keep spacing the way it is. That second one was a reaction one, meaning that I knew he was going to throw that next hit out. Now I'm like, I'm punishing in this gap, because I know there's nothing else that he's going to be able to do to stop me. Even if he were to do that last hit, I would have hit him before then. Now, in this moment here, if we were not playing just a footsie game, this is a full combo punish. I'm hitting him with my forward 4, and I'm getting my full combo punish. This would have been 40 damage. I have at least 3 bars. I'm getting 40 damage. A full thing of Chameleon, I am getting 40 damage from this. So this one touch alone is getting me 40 damage, which means he is now at least 50 health from this one mistake in him playing neutral. Touch, punish. Now look at what happens on wake up. On wake up, I take a step back because I don't want to have to worry about him doing his armor on wake up. So if he does armor on wake up, he's not going to hit me. So that means in this scenario of me doing a back step, the only thing that I could be scared of would be his teleport, because that's the only thing that can reach me from there. So I'm super safe. That's why I took a step back. But also I know that moving now, if I go straight into my projectile, it is still going to be very, very safe. And there's not much that he can do about it. So I take a step forward. The reason why I did this was because I wanted to see if he was going to opposite back, like if he was going to be scared, because whenever sometimes you move back a lot, people are expecting you to move back. So if you move back and then move forward and then you immediately go into buttons, you'll catch people trying to move forward again. And this is very good. Ninja Killer does this very well. And the point of this is to basically force people to be honest with their movement, or to get them to stop and stop tracking you, which is also another level to it. But I wanted to move forward just a little bit to see if he was going to backstep. And if he was going to backstep, then this would have caught him. And that's why I did that little basic movement there. And I'm immediately into this projectile. So that way, if he would have done a backdash, that would have caught him. That would have got that would have caught him in his backdash. So showing that again. To see, but he stayed, so that was good. And then he got his little punish there. That was very good. I told him you gotta be aggressive there. Now what I did there was I I'm not going to let him get any highs. That was a down 4, just to stop that. Now, from here, this is where you have to have a large knowledge base of your character and also the character that you're going against. It's not as simple as it looks, because whenever you are reading what your character can do in the footsie game, you have to also pay attention to what your opponent can do in the footsie game. I know that my down, I think it's down 4, down 4. It's very good on block, and it's also very good on hit advantage whenever it lands, which means I know I can do that and immediately do a quick dash forward into my 1-2 that is going to gel, which means you can't move if that lands. And I know that, which also means that if that is blocked and you don't know what's going to happen, or if you don't know if you blocked it, if I do that exact same movement, it's still just straight up pressure. So that's very, very scary for someone to deal with who is just kind of like autopiloting, and they're not really paying attention to if they got hit or if they didn't. But as you can see, I run up, you get this to gel, which means he wasn't trying to block, which means if you were trying to duck, if you were trying to press your own button right there, all of this is going to hit you, meaning it's forcing you stand still, stop, don't move, which is very good because that opens up again the throw game, which makes all of that a little bit much more better. You're conditioning in so many different ways. So I just get a little basic little 3 hit. I basically say we can finish the string, but we can't go into any like specials or anything like that. It will be more, unless it will be a mind game for like someone not to press right there. So I get that hit. Again, take a few steps back because I don't want to worry about it. But in this case, what I did was I didn't want to take 2 steps back because I didn't want to give him too much room out of the corner, because this is kind of a barre situation. Whenever, or in a way, it's more of just like a mind game thing where you don't want to get someone in the corner and then give up all of your corner pressure. But I also don't want to be in a position where I like get hit with his armored move and then the corner pressure is going anyway. So part of it is a little bit of safety, and part of it is also making a read like I'm still not going to give you all this room, so you're going to at least have to come off the bar, or you're going to have to hold that because I'm trying to keep you in the corner. So that's why I did just 1 back step straight into that. So if he did try to mimic movement again, I will just go ahead and try to get him in the middle of that. So it's also a process of trying to stop people from just tracking your movement. But on top of that, it was also to make sure that I could catch him if he was trying to move forward, and also not give him too much space to move forward, and like then he's not in the corner. If you have movement to backdash, you can always play footsies. The whole point of getting people in the corner is that they can't play footsies. They just have to hold everything, right? I do that. Again, same thing. I knew he was going to do something because he needed to get out of the corner. Whenever you know someone needs to get out of the corner, you have to do things to make it to where things are going to live. So I do that, take a back step, use the bar, punish him right in between that. Again, if this was not the footsie game, that's immediately a full combo punish. That is neutral 4, going into 3, going immediately into my back forward, I think it's 3 or whatever it is. I can't remember the buttons right now. I would switch my cameo and I'm going immediately into combo pressure. I can even go straight into my whatchamacallit. I forgot what it's called. The little thing that sends him up. You know what I'm talking about. The back forward 1 projectile that combos. I could have went into all of this. This would have been crazy combo damage. So again, that was another touch that would have immediately led to, that would have been the round alone. But again, we're playing footsies only. So just making the read that, hey, if they do this, I have an answer for it. And then immediately into the pressure, right? Now here, why did he not press right here? Again, this is like 5 games of conditioning already in the bag, and by 5 games I mean like 5 different rounds. He knows that I like to do my 2-1 into my armored like projectile basically, which is plus. But also, he knows that I can finish that next hit, which means he would have to poke or armor right there. He also knows that I like doing that immediately into a down one, which is my faster frame button, immediately into my back, down back three or my back forward four. So that way I force him, like, I'll be risky like that. I'm like, I'll force you to like hold that just for an extra second, just so that way I can open up much more mind games on you. And that's not exactly a great thing to do all the time, but it is still something that you want to do. Now, if you have a way to make that safe like his Scorpion does, then definitely you want to use that a lot. But in Lee May's case, I don't really have a way to make that. Excuse me. I don't have a way to make that super safe. So, me doing my 2-1 straight into my 1-2. The only reason why I was able to get that off is because he's respecting everything that I can do after I do my 2-1, whether it's a special finishing the string or down one poking or just actually blocking and forcing him to poke in that spot and immediately going right back into my own pressure, which is another mind games that people don't play enough, which is if someone pokes you and you have an advancing mid, it's your turn. You need to pressure people. Or if you have a long-reaching high, even like Quan Chi or Scorpion, it is your turn. You have to force them to poke you. You do not want to sit there and like let someone poke you and then you just poke them back. That's just not like smart gameplay. You have to have levels to it. But in some cases, it's all you can do if you're going against a higher level player. So that's the reason why that sequence was able to happen. And again, that same thing into the pressure. Again, this is very scary because that 1-2 is +2. That kick is, I think, 9 or 10 frames, which means you would have to have a very, very fast poke. And you would have to automatically do it in order for you to even interrupt this spot. But that's very hard to do, and it's also not something you want to do because I'm going to counter you in that process because my down one is always going to come out faster, which means this is all straight pressure. I'm just using a smaller mind game to make it to where if I am going to down one, I'd rather down one with some or down four because I'm safer and it has much more pushback, and I'm also pushing you more into the corner, which means you cannot backdash now. You cannot backdash. You have to move forward or you have to block, which is the reason why this is working. Notice the whole trend of a character is to get them in the corner so they can't backdash, which means it's much easier to read or to space your own buttons to punish people in the corner, which is the reason why all of this was working. That pushback sends me back and it sends him in the corner, which means it's all in my favor. So why would you not want to do 1-2 straight into your down four? It's very, very bully tactic, which is the reason why you see me using it. Because I'm like, even if he does a small backdash or if he gets a poke, I'm going to do it again because I do not want to give up this corner pressure. Now, you do have to worry about people jumping in and all that stuff, but that's different levels. We're going to talk about all that. So I do that and immediately, look, that's the reason why I do that. His down one is going to whiff. And I was telling him this. I said, what you want to do as a high level player is you want to take things off the table, which means you have to place yourself in a position to where you force people only to use certain buttons. And these buttons have to be their worst buttons if it's range. And when you send these buttons, when you take away these buttons, it forces people who don't know anything about footsies, who haven't lapped the game enough, to think that, oh, I can just down one right there. Which is, again, him doing a preemptive hard read for that down one, and it whiffed. Now, in this case, I knew that was going to happen because he's in the corner and he doesn't understand what's going on in that specific facet of that scenario. So I immediately was going for the punish, but my timing was just a little bit off. However, I'm just going to go ahead and go right back into the 1-2 now. So, going to go into the 1-2. So, not great at all. But in a high level format, you can actually go ahead and punish that down one with a back three, which is what I normally would have done. That's what I've been doing the rounds before. Or you can punish it with a forward four. A forward three. Or you can just punish it with your own poke into, if something like special counters and it combos. There's a lot of things that you can do with that. But the best thing for me to kind of do it with would have been the back three or the forward three. Or forward, yeah. Forward four. Back three or forward four. So me going into my 1-2 there was a preemptive kind of thing. In case it didn't work, then that 1-2 would have landed if he would have respected that. So again, it's still scary pressure. I just didn't do my stuff right. My timing was wrong. And that's why he got this down one to work here. Now, from this down one, his goal is to get himself out of the corner. From this down one, he has to have all the pressure in the world, right? So what happens? He goes into this, so I know I have to block, but my thing with him was I told him, you do not want to do your 1-2 in the situation, because let's say if I blocked that poke and I did a small walk back and an immediate block, that one is whiffing, and then I can punish him right there for even doing just that sequence, which means it's not optimal to do that. And I told him this. I showed him this in slowdown time. We were going over like the sequences, so that way he can understand why high-level players, footsies, are just levels above all these average players. And that's why I told him not to do. But he did it there, and notice how he gets no pushback, no spacing, nothing. He's straight up in the exact same scenario, and there's only a few things that he can go into in this moment, which means he could go into his little like Kai spear swing and then use his chameleon to get out of it. But I told him, I said, I don't want you to use cameos either, because I don't want to make the cameos a crutch, because sometimes the cameos won't be available. So you need to develop this in a way to where if there is another MK game where there's not that safety net to do that, you still need to have a way to kind of do this or force someone to get better in that format. So there's nothing else that he can go into after this, because it's an easy up block. You can react to the overhead thingy. It's very, very easy. And you don't really lose anything for it. All you got to do is just tap it up for a second, and then you can kind of option select that. And we'll also talk about option selecting armored moves in the game. Well, I'll make a video on that too. So yeah, then so the moment he does that, I'm like, okay, so you got nothing from that poke. If I were him, I would have done my 2. I would have staggered it. I would have done my 2. And you would have to respect the mid that's coming after that. So I would just done my straight up 2, because it's like not that minus. So just my 2 to give me a little bit of spacing, force him to, respect that in case he did try to backdash. Then I'm going immediately into my 4-3. So that way I can force him to like at least respect that and give myself some room to work with here. But he just went into his 1-2. He didn't get any spacing from it. No pushback, no nothing. He's in the same position. And what do? I bully him immediately with that same down 4 that's pushing him back into the corner, giving me space to work. So if he did another down 1, he is going to whiff, and I can punish. So that's what's going on here. So now he's smart, and he's realizing, he's like, okay, well, I have to do this button because it's the only thing that's going to reach at this range. Even his 2 is going to whiff at that range. So that's why he does that, and I'll block it because I know that I have to at least still have some safety and not make a ridiculous read on everything. Sometimes blocking is always going to be your best advocate for you. And I just block right there. At the moment that I block, I immediately go straight into the same thing. Now, this was a hard read because I know what he is expecting. This was a very hard read. So I know what he's expecting after that, right? I told him to do this. His problem is that his timing was just a little bit bad. If I can get 2 dashes in, that means you press your button way too late. way too late. But it was still good. It's just the thing about highs is you also have to respect that people are reading you at the same time. And this right here would have been a full combo punish as well. I would have actually done this into my 4 to interrupt that. But I just duck it. Because I know what he's gonna go for. It's like his mid can't hit me from out there, so why would I not press up and try to get him in that same thing? Like his mid can't hit me from this area. Like, you see the pushback? His mid can't hit me from there. That's why I move forward, because I'm like, yeah, it's not hitting me. Now, if he's reading that I'm moving forward a lot after that poke, then he can throw that mid in preemptively, so that way he can actually punish my movement right there. But I know he's wanting to fish for that 2-1 because he's kind of on autopilot right now, which is part of the reason why the round's kind of going my way. So I dodge forward twice, interrupt that gap because I know he's going for that high. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea why I did that back forward right there. That was not a smart move. I guess in my mind I was thinking, okay, what if he like just holds it and turtles a little bit, because he's been doing that a little bit whenever he gets a little bit flustered in the moment with the mind games from the footsies. So I was expecting for him to turtle right there after he did his poke. So like, I was expecting for him to like poke and then like just hold it, because he knows I'll take my turn back after pokes very often, unless you throw like some other things for me to respect right after that. But I'm very much so going to lead that into my pressure, but I also want to stop people from backdashing as well. So I think that's what was going on in my mind. But the down forward would have been good in any format, but the back forward 4 was not optimal at all. That should not have happened. But if, let's say, he did turtle and I did counter poke him back like I did, and he wanted to take his turn back right after that, that's when that mind game would have worked. But in this case, there was no point in doing that. I probably should have went into maybe the down poke into something else or a backdash. That would have been much more optimal. So I do that. But notice how he's very scared. He was already planning to turtle because he knew that he did get hit. And you can actually do this against a lot of players very easily. The moment that, you know, the mind gets flustered, it doesn't matter what like the rest of the body can do. You can be living in, or you can be a Lamborghini. You can be the fastest car in the world, but if you ain't got no engine and the mind's the engine, if your engine's faulty, you ain't going nowhere. I don't care how fast you react. If I have you flustered, if I get in your mind, it's called mind games for a reason. That's what's going on here. You can force a player to turtle and not punish things that are normally punishable if you put that much pressure and you bully someone. And this is in every fighting game. The difference between average players and high-level players, between pros, is that pros are harder to condition and they stick with the punishing. Pros punish things on a whole nother level compared to other players, and they're very good at, no matter what's going on, to at least keep some sort of consistency whenever they're getting basically bullied by other pros with whatever mind game or trap or setup that they're doing. So that's why he didn't punish right there. And notice how he thinks I'm about to go for a throw, so he does a little throw tech really quick. And I realize he's just standing there, so I just go ahead and do another poke. So I'm like, okay, let me try to get myself away from him just a little bit, but also push him back in the corner, right? That little spacing. He jumps up. That's cool. I held that for way too long, so he got a poke. From here, he has to go into something, so I like the forward dash. But right there, that forward dash into that 1-2, that gives him nothing at all. But he had enough of my respect to where I didn't immediately counter poke from that scenario, because I knew I already like gave up with the up block. I held it way too long, and I'm gonna just hold my block for that moment. And then if you're gonna hold your block, you can still like let go of RT and tech on reaction, which is what Ninja Killer does the most at the current moment. I made a video on that as well if you guys want to know what that is. There's a lot of throw techs in this game, so you're going to be good no matter what when it comes to throws. There's a bunch of ways to kind of counter that, but anyways, but again, he does the same thing. He doesn't get anything from me. But notice how right there I just go ahead and I do a little quick little throw tech in case he tried to, because if I try to like put like my longer range 4 out right there, which is what I want, because I want to get him back in the corner, I know that his throw can throw counter a lot of my things, so I'm gonna just do that. So if I can possibly make him whiff, that's a bigger gain in my part, and also I don't lose anything for just holding block and then letting go of block for a quick second to make that throw whiff, which means I can get a punish and I don't have to hard commit to anything. And I also don't want him to backdash and then him catch me trying to down one him in that moment. So it's a little bit more of an optimal move, which again, you'll see Ninja Killer do this much more. It's just a little bit more of an optimal way to kind of play without forcing yourself to like do an input to stop something, it's better to, do the safer net one that can eliminate a few more options, or you just deal with like an extra 2 seconds of block pressure, and then you can force them to make a mistake, because not a lot of players know how to keep people in block pressure, and you don't win a game by blocking alone. You can't win a game off of like plus buttons. That's not enough damage. All they need is one open and they can take all of the way. So it's very good to just sit and block. MK1 or MK in general has always been a block game. Just block, So I do the same thing, that little tech there, get him to whiff. But also, if he would have actually been close enough to land that throw tech, may have worked. The timing could have been a little bit off the way it looked, but if it did, then that would have also been a double tech. So immediately read on that, right? Again, I can't go into combo, so I'll just go into that, and I go into the gel, get him back in the corner. This is going to gel again into that, so that's all pressured. And notice how I do a forward dash. So that down 4 into that dash forward 1 2, that's pressure, that's going to gel. And notice how I just do another, let me see if I can get it right. So that gels, right? You can't move. And I do another one. Why did I do another dash right there? That is me pushing them deeper into the corner, because they cannot stop the fact of my hit advantage is exactly what it is. But also you have to understand that people have to respect hit advantage. But if they do respect hit advantage, it allows for you to easily walk in and do a few dashes and still get the same amount of pressure, which means you get to kind of force people into the corner a little bit better, and also still get the same thing that you would have had. So it's a little bit of a sneakier or a bullying move. It's like, I'm gonna get you deeper in the corner, even though I know I can't get you that deep in the corner. You're giving me way too much, which is actually really good, because you want to have that mind game to where you start forcing people to press in those moments, so you can start getting counters right there. So just always going into your hit advantage, it's not good, because you ain't going to open up someone like that. You're just always going to get what you're going to get. And if they block it, then you're going to get your turn taken over. It's better to have mind games in between, even just that little moment. So that way, if you do that forward dash and they try to interrupt, now we're talking big money. And you can get counters in the corner, which is where all your combo damage is. So that's why I did a dodge forward. The dodge forward was also to see if he was going to try to like react to it and be like, oh, he didn't press a button, or like if he was going to like preemptively block for a second and then go into buttons, that would have countered that. If I wanted to get him deeper into the corner and still get my pressure, that would have also worked. And also if I just didn't want to like respect anything that he was going to do, or if I wanted to get him to start poking preemptively, that would have also been a good thing. That would have worked in my favor moving forward. So it's like 3 things that are working to my favor, and the one thing that would have worked in his favor, which is nothing. So it's a very good thing to do. You definitely would want to start adopting that if you're actually interested in like Footsie Wars. So I go immediately into another one, going straight into that same down 4, because at that range, it's like I could down 1 right there, which would have been the better play. And if he were going to preemptively press his down 1, it would kind of beat my 4. But that's not exactly a good read, because you're banking on the fact that you time that at the first possible frame, and all you're going to get is a down 1 that's going to leave you very minus, pay attention, very, very minus, in front of a face of a character who has a button that can punish that poke, which is the reason why that is not optimal. You do not just want to hard read down 1 preemptively, because all I have to do is just flawless block that, which means I just tap block at the time I know it's going to come out because of the frames of it, and then immediately go straight into mine. Now, I wouldn't even flawless block it. I'm just going to tap block it at the time I know it has to come out, because you do have to lab these things, and then immediately go into my 1-2 and try to punish you in the corner for a full combo. That would have been another dead scenario. So he knows not to do that. I've taught him not to do that, which is the reason why he held that. This is the reason why the corner is scary, especially in MK1, because down 1 poking in the corner is the dumbest thing that you can do, because it's very punishable and you have nowhere to go. You can't push people back enough to where they will not be able to punish you with their longest reaching 1, if they do have a long reaching 1. And in this case, Lee May would be able to touch him right there, because the pushback on that wouldn't have been that great, especially how I dodged forward into his face to make sure if he were to do it, I would have all this room I need to be able to punish that down 1 press right there. So that's why I got that down 4 to land. And now look, he puts his guard up. right? And he tries, right? Why did he put his guard up right there? Because he is wanting to stop me from doing all of my shenanigans again with the down 4 into maybe the down back 3 or the back forward 4. But also, it's just for the fact that I pushed him in the corner, and he has to respect my backdash right there. He has to respect buttons right there. He has to respect another poke right there. He has to respect the jump in right there, which is, I believe, the one that he thought I was going to do. There's so many things that he has to respect that it's going to make it very, very hard for someone to just automatically like, okay, I'm going to just do this, right? I'm going to just go ahead and do this. This is the easiest way to counter that. No, it's not that simple. And that's the reason why he picked his body up, because he thought I was probably going to jump in. And that's the reason why he kind of hesitated for a second to like, okay, is he going to jump? And the moment he realized that nothing happened, now he's moving. This works in your favor because all you got to do is just do another poke. And then your hit advantage again, and now you're scary again. Now I'm going to do the same thing, dodge forward. Again, he's realized, oh, I'm getting hit by that way too much. I have to block right here. So that's pushing him into the corner. I'm still +2, very scary. Straight into the same poke. Now I'm like, okay, he's probably going to block that one, so I'll block it, right? The same thing that happened earlier, right? I'm reading the fact that he wants to get that off. So this is scary, because if you see people doing this to you, you're kind of screwed. If they're reading that hard that you're not doing your mid, then that's very scary, because now they're literally going to get in there and get the biggest combo punch they can. Now, an easier way to do this, if you also want to just micro duck, you can as well. You can just like dodge forward, micro duck, and then get a punish with your 1 or whatever you want for it to be. But in this case, I know I can't do that because we're only doing footsies. But if you see someone dodge forward and duck your first button straight into whatever, that means that's a punish. That's what's going on. That's a micro duck punish right there. See what I'm saying? Cool. Straight into the same pressure, into the same kick, and he tried to interrupt, and that's the reason why you do not do that. That's just perfect. So now I do my 1-2, and you're gonna be like, okay, well, now I just gotta press buttons right there. Or what if he does the kick? Or what if he backdashes from that, which is also a scary thing. You can use your pressure to backdash earlier, so that way you can create spacing and create opportunities to land further reaching mids or get people to press in that spot, which is a scary thing to do. So he actually made a very good read, but in this case, it didn't work in his favor because I went straight into that 1-2 immediately into my own buttons, and I caught him trying to do his forward 3 into the same pressure, right? Now I throw that same bully tactic with him. Now notice what he does. He's also scared of the throw when I do my 1-2, because that is going to throw counter him if he does any button right there. If I time that throw at the earliest possible frame, that is going to throw counter everything that he's wanting to do except maybe his down one, and he's going to have to hold that down quite a while for those first startup frames. So that's the reason why he's doing that quick little tech there to try to make that, not happen. So I'll go ahead and kind of showcase that scenario there one more time. So I hit that. Same pressure. That's +2. There we go. Hit him with that kick. Again, the spacing. This is why I say I use that button, because I am moving him deeper into the corner and I'm moving myself out of the corner. You can't just down one. You have to respect the spacing. I am taking everything out of his kit. He can't do his mid right there. He can't do his 1 right there. He has to do his down 3. He has to. It's the only thing that he has that can reach me out there. And if he tries to do forward movement into it, it would be a little bit better, but you would have to do that very, very fast. And he doesn't have the consistency to do that at a high level just yet. But that would catch me, and you have to be aware of like forward dash like being canceled into buttons. If you do it at the proper timing, you can make a button that's like 10 frames, like 13 frame mid, basically, if you do the timing for that really, really well. So that is another layer to the game as well, but I know he doesn't have that in his bag yet, so I don't have to be scared of that. But that's why I did that poke right there. can't just down one it. And now I'm like, okay, what if he does it again? So I was trying to actually dodge in and then catch him, but he did it. So I'm like, okay, well, let me not be too much of a bully. So he lands that, and again, that whiffs. If he would have dodged forward into that 3, that would have worked. But that's something that he's still kind of learning. In the footsie game, he can do that, like when it's combos or if it's backdashing and like that kind of autopilot. I've already have the muscle memory for that, but this is all new territory for him, so I don't expect him to have that, which is the reason why I'm like, I don't care if you get that poke. Like, what are you going to get from that? You're going to get your forward 1. If you don't gel into your 2, you're not touching me. So that's the reason why I poked right here, is because I'm forcing him to where, I'm forcing him into optimal gameplay. I'm like, I want you to use your 2 more, because that's the only thing that's going to stop me whenever you do get that poke, right? That poke into 2 is going to gel, but if he does the 1, none of that's working. So I'm like, I'm going to force you to only use the 1 thing that's going to stop me from pressing right there into the same mind game to this. Now, this is the most important part. You have to ask yourself, why is he like giving me pressure after I land this down 4? Well, this is why. That is all footsie. And once you start mastering the timing for this, or you start playing characters who can do this, there was a character in MK11, his name was Spawn. He was able to just do a walk back and do that exact same thing, but he was also able to do a quick backdash and animation cancel with the block, and then make it to where so many characters couldn't counter poke, so it forced them to like run in and have to press buttons or take a step back themselves and try to play like a rangier game. But he already had range, so he was a very, very, very BS character to play neutral with. And that's actually who I played. I played Spawn. I played Spawn, I played Joker, and I played Cetrion. Those were my 3 mains, and Fujin. Those were my 4 mains in MK11. All the characters who have beautiful range, I love range characters. And this is the reason why. Because if you have movement with range, you're absolutely broken in the footsie game. So I do this, hit him with that, boom, beautiful. And this is what the essence of why I made that video. Also, not only for you guys, but also to show him what was going on in the footsie war. And this video is mainly for him, but if you guys wanted the knowledge as well of what's going on in the footsie war, and there's multiple layers to, you know, the footsie war, but this is just a way to kind of see it here being explained. If you are one of the more analytical types and you would like to know what's going on step by step or sequence by sequence, and what are the mind games being played in the footsie war, and I promise you it goes much deeper into layers than what I'm showcasing here on the higher level or on the pro level, basically. And that's how you're going to know if a player's a good player. You're going to immediately be able to tell off of their movement in neutral, because all of that is footsies. And most MK players don't have footsies, because MK has always been like a combo game with like fast-paced, like just kind of like BS where you don't really have to think about it. Street Fighter has always been a neutral footsie game. MK11 was more of a neutral game than this game. This game is kind of like you don't really have to play neutral. You just put buttons out that force people to stop moving, which is kind of BS, but it's still fun. Like, but I would like a neutral game because I love footsies. Footsies has always been my favorite thing, and then playing mind games on top of footsies has always been my forte. So for the people who wanted to kind of have that deeper in depth of what this video was about, that was that. Let me just go ahead and speed this up really quick. By the way, if you guys don't know who Zach Justice is, that dude is funny as heck. That's who's in my bottom right there. That guy is hilarious. But now let's go ahead and watch it full time so you can see like how fast you have to be able to make these reads, or how fast you have to be aware of what you're doing, or just at least practicing these scenarios enough to where you can kind of autopilot, but you don't want to do that. You want to be able to process this and have that deeper level of concentration. A lot of people say that hesitation is a bad thing, which is true. However, you want to be able to move fast while also processing information, and that's called concentration. That's called focus. And this is the reason why Sonic Fox and Ninja Killer are on a whole nother level, because they're actively reading the game. They're not on autopilot. but they can autopilot a lot of characters, but they're actually making reads. Their concentration, their focus is on a whole nother level, which is the reason why they're washing all these other pro players. It's like you can tell that they're not even getting better, because if I can watch a video in 0.5 speed of the same players from how they played now to how they played years ago, and see the exact same like movement mechanics with them, or they see the exact same like mind games, it's like I can tell people aren't getting better. And I'm the kind of person that I'm going to dive into that like very, very deep. So that way, if anybody comes for me, or if anyone like comes for another player, I'll be like, well, let's break this down, you know, and see what's really going on. And I've done that before. I've like in Multiverses, I went against the top 3 player in that game, and I broke that video down step by step of like what happened in the sequence and whatnot. So like, you always want to be able to have an answer for what you're going against. And I can tell the people who do not lab, or the people who do not like watch tape, because if you watch tape, you can see how a lot of fighters fight, or what their weaknesses are, and you can win that way. And I would love to go against someone who is watching tape on me, because I'm very adaptable. If I go against the best player in the world for a week, I'm gonna become the best player in the world. I'm gonna find a way to win. That's just always been my thing. So hopefully from watching this video, you guys are able to learn something, adapt, and grow. Because the whole point of me making MK videos is I want people to grow. I want people to get better. This is not about me. This is not about somebody else. This is not about who's the best. This is about growth as a community. Because I've always found that MK has been like the easiest place to play fighting games. And in MK11, I would go on 56 game winning streaks. I even have screenshots of that. And it's like, that's in Combat League. That's not fun, you know? Like, people just don't pay attention to these small, minor details. And it's not that I don't believe people just don't want to practice. I believe people don't know how to practice. They don't know how to get better. And that's why I start making videos, is I want people to know how to get better, how to develop mind games, how to develop speed, timing, precision, range, knowledge, experience, X factor, that kind of thing. And this video, that's the purpose of this video. And that's why I explained it how I did. Now let's go ahead and watch it in full speed so you can see what this looks like in normal time. See, I'm bullying them with that. I'm bullying them with that down 4 now. It makes it very scary to deal with whenever you start bullying someone. This is the whole point of, please, if you guys are very interested in like getting better, go watch that video. The tech videos and then how to get better. Those videos are going to help you so much when it comes to just like how to practice, right? Or how to beat people who are very good. Ninja Killer is very much so a bully tactic kind of fighter. Sonic Fox is much more mind gamey, but he's also a bullier. Sonic Fox can bully the heck out of people, which is the reason why I love watching them fight, because on the casual level, it's like, oh, they're good, they're hitting combos, they're doing all this crazy. I like watching them play footsies. I like watching them getting into the minds of their opponent to where they literally are like, I don't know what to do anymore. That's what I like watching on a higher level. To see how their brain is working, how they're moving with their character, how they're spacing things out, how they're making certain mind games or certain traps, certain hard to blockables very, very deadly, and leading them into pressure, into set play, into setups, into frame traps. That's what I like watching, because that's how I learn. But notice how I am bullying him now with that down 4, because I'm daring him to start making the read of like, I'm a counter poke, I'm an armor. I want him to do that, because then that means he's taking a huge risk, which is going to work in my favor, which means I can now punish him more. You have to play safe, because if you don't play safe, you're dead. Ooh, Ninja Killer's live. You know what I'm about to do. Look, I'm just bullying him because it's down 4 now. Poke, poke, stop it. Do your frames right, poke. I'm a block because I'm still smart, poke. Punch him in the gap, poke. poke. You can't do that. Poke. I'm taking away all of his options. You have to have your spacing right. Poke, punish. The moment you do bully, that is super, super like bullying. And that's what you see the highest level of players do. They just bully you over and over and over again because they realize that you do not have the frame data knowledge. You do not have the footsie knowledge. And what Sonic said to Quasi, and I've been watching Quasi for a long time. I like Quasi. Quasi's a very good player. But Sonic Fox called his footsies like get the job done, basically. What does that mean? That means there's not enough knowledge in what's going on in the footsie war, in the neutral game. And there's not enough like optimal play, basically. The buttons aren't the best buttons for the best scenario. And that's a sign of like not really labbing, kind of hopping online, kind of playing, just finding your offense, finding, like the basic things and not really growing. That's what that means. Again, no beef or anything like that. This is not me. I'm saying that on behalf of Sonic. Sonic would say there was no beef. And I don't think there is. It's just commenting on how you see it. People can comment on my gameplay. I'm like, it's going to be what it's going to be. The whole reason why I upload is because I'm showing my progress and getting better, because that's the whole point of playing a game. If you're not getting better, then why are you playing? But the main point is Sonic Fox was able to say that about a very, very good player who other people would say would be a top, 10 player in the community as far as like Combat League, and to call their neutral basically gets the job done. That basically means there's a lot of knowledge that people don't know, that they know what they would get bullied in this type of format. Thank God for combos. Thank God for combos, because if this game was like Street Fighter, and if this game had offense like Street Fighter, where it was much more fair and it was built off of you getting your poke or like slight pressure things, very, very simple, but very, very like predictable reading offense, that means everything becomes off of the footsies. A lot of these players who are some good players really just have offense. They have no neutral, no defense. And I'm not saying that to call anyone out, because I think Quasi has great offense, and he has actually a really good defense, and his footsies is actually good compared to me. But when I watch Sonic Fox play his footsies, that's where I have learned. That's where I have been able to get better. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. It's Zooko, man. Please, 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 like, understand this is about levels to the game, not this is about levels to the game, not like trying to just be scrubby. There was nothing, kind of simple about this video. This is like levels to the game, and this would be on what I would call like a slight higher level. It actually goes much deeper than this, but in order for me to do that, I would have to have combos kind of a part of that sequence. But this was just to help a player who is wanting to seek some help in the footsie or reading the game faster. And I'll actually go ahead and make a few more videos today to talk exactly just about that.